Welcome to Walking with Beau, an almost daily walking vlog. As you will see, there's some lightning going off here and there, but I made sure I watched the radar and it's safely moving out of town. As you can see, it rained, and you can't see, but it's a little cooler tonight. It's about 65, a little breezy, and you'll see just saw some lightning in the background there. And sometimes in between frames it won't get caught on here, but I'm using 30 frames per second instead of 60 because of nighttime lighting. So you'll either see some or you won't. So yesterday I walked 9 miles, 9.12 to be exact. Wasn't sure if I would walk tonight because it would all depend how I felt. But I feel really good. So that's all good news. My stamina is right up there and my body feels good. So I'll just go for a walk. I'll take a relatively easy 5-miler tonight. Won't do anything too crazy. You can see the clouds are starting to break up a little bit. And here's some thunder in the background. If it gets too hairy, I'll duck into a storefront or something. I'm going to be taking mostly a city sidewalk trek this evening. So yeah, I'm going to discuss politics a little bit because, you know, every day it seems like new things are coming out. Polling has been really strange, but the good news is Pew Research came out with a poll that actually had honest crosstabs. Remember, I was telling you about crosstabs. That's the important thing. And it was a poll with leaners, which is a very important thing. I can see some lightning going off pretty good, actually. So, leaners are people that are going to lean Democrat or lean Republican. But what was good about this is it had really good crosstabs. You can just hear some thunder. Crosstabs are really important because it gives you the stats about who they polled, how many they polled, what their typical affiliations are, and it gives you a good, accurate reading on independents. The good news is, on the Pew Research poll, okay, they have Kamala ahead by 1 percentage point with a margin of error that basically says it's tied. Now, that is a poll for the national popular vote, okay? We're not expecting Trump to win the national popular vote just because of New York and California. Excuse me. And You know, we haven't seen a Republican win the popular vote in quite a while. So, since George Bush. And Barack Obama has won the popular vote, but again, that's California and New York. It's to be expected. That doesn't mean Trump doesn't have a chance to. I still say the polling is a couple of points too light. But anyway, the point being is we run with an electoral college, not a popular vote. So, technically speaking, if you look at it mathematically, which is really important, Kamala Harris has not run away with anything. She did a little bit of damage by them shaking things up. And I think their campaigning tactics are now starting to blow up on them a little bit in their own faces by her copying the no tax on tips, not having policies, not doing interviews. And so I'll tell you what they're counting on shortly in a couple of minutes. But they have this crazy notion that they can just say whatever they want and the media will just let them do it. And it just, right now, it doesn't seem like they care. They're just repeating all of the Donald Trump lies. Find people on both sides hoax. They're just repeating it. Trump's going to cut Medicare. Despite the media this week saying that Trump is on record for not cutting Medicare or Social Security. And in fact, Trump is going to cut the taxes on Social Security as income. So the Kamala campaign doesn't care. They're just repeating the same lies over and over again. They keep saying Project 2025, like it's going to do something for them. Like attacking Trump is going to cover up the fact that Kamala is a socialist. And it's already starting to not work, which I'm going to get to my next point here. Polling is shifting right now back to Trump. That has polling that came out today is heading back towards Trump. So, not by a huge amount right now, but we all suspected that Trump was ahead to begin with and never got behind. And these polling companies are trying to make Kamala a thing, and it's just not working. Because nobody likes her. That hasn't changed. And so, new Fox poll came out. Oh, there's some good thunder. It's behind us, thankfully. We're walking away from it. The thing with Fox News is they haven't been very friendly to Trump. Almost all this year, last year, and actually for the past 4 or 5 years. So today was the first Fox poll that came out where Trump was ahead by a point, which is very big, because that means he's ahead by more than that. And that would coincide with the Trafalgar, Rasmussen, and CNBC polls that came out a couple days ago that had Trump ahead by 5 points. One by 2 points, one by 5, and another one by 3 or 4. So Trump's ahead is my point, and people need to relax. This is planned chaos. Just like the poll that came out today by somebody. I don't even know who the hell did it, but you check the crosstabs and it was ridiculous. Saying Kamala was only 3 points behind Trump in Florida. Like now Kamala's a threat in Florida, right? That's friggin' nonsense. And that is just a ploy, to get the Trump campaign to start spending more money in Florida. And they're just trying to siphon off Trump's campaign fund by creating all these problems that don't exist. And their internal polling knows that. So I saw another article today with an anonymous source. It's always an anonymous source, that Trump is getting ready to fire his campaign staff and hire new advisors, which actually would not surprise me. But, you know, Trump has a lot of stuff going on right now. Whoa, that was pretty close. So, see, that's behind that way. We're walking away from it. So I followed it on the radar, but I do know that people can get struck a few miles away from where a thunderstorm is. Let's hope that doesn't happen to me. Anyways, what I was saying is they're trying really hard to make Kamala a thing. And she has a real problem in that she's the same person she's always been. And as people get to find out, because a lot of people don't know who she is. I know that sounds crazy, because we haven't seen her. I knew who she was because I watched the Kavanaugh hearings and watched her act like a fool. And she's the one that ruined California. Now people are researching her, and Google is trying to scrub that. But they don't have the tight grip on information that they had before. Especially with some uncensored social media outlets. People are getting the information. And she's plateaued in the polls, and in a couple of them she's starting to drop. And that's going to be a continuing trend. Right now they feel like they don't have to debate. And they're going to have to. And she has agreed to a debate, and I guess Tim Walz has agreed to one in October, beginning of October. I think it's October 7th. And vice presidential debate is not as important, but it is important. And J.D. Vance will do fine. There's a lot of information out there trying to say that Trump regrets picking J.D. Vance. And I wouldn't if I were him. I mean, he could take him out right now and add somebody else. But that wouldn't serve him well. It would look like he admitted he made a mistake. So you ought to just ride with it. I think that's what Kamala's going to do with Tim Walz. Even though technically Tim Walz has really hurt Kamala, and I think that's why the poll numbers shifted a little. I do. Typically, people will say that the vice presidential candidate doesn't really affect things much. But things are different this year. Kamala's hiding. The only way to shift the attention away from Tim Walz is for Kamala Harris to come out, and she's going to be a punching bag. They're trying to portray her in media companies as the second coming of Obama. You know, Time magazine's going to have this beautiful cover of her. And then when you research it, Time magazine is now owned by a polling company. I didn't know that. They're not even owned by a media outlet anymore. And that's why their reporting has been ridiculous. So a lot of things have changed. And, you know, I really enjoyed watching the CNN Caitlin, what's her name, get laughed at on late night media by the audience when Stephen Colbert said that CNN was honest and you can get news you trust. The crowd busted out laughing, and that was unrehearsed. And it's almost like he was apologizing to her. He didn't expect that kind of answer. And that's the problem with these people. They're in a bubble. They don't realize how foolish they sound. They don't realize that the viewership for Stephen Colbert's show would double if they would stop being leftist idiots. So I guess they don't care. They'd rather lose the viewership and the money. I'm never going to watch them. The only thing I see is clips on the internet. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on by the media. CNN got caught editing part of Elon Musk and Trump's interview having to do with striking union workers, saying that they should just be fired. They cut out the whole context that led to that commentary, where Trump was saying that unions have a purpose, and so they're playing dirty again. We knew they would. And apparently the CEO of CNN doesn't care. The only time they care is when they're trying to get rid of Biden because Trump might win. That was the only time, and that debate with Tapper and Dana, what's her face? They were told to play it straight, and they did. And, they wanted to get rid of Biden. It's so blatantly obvious. It's crazy. So now we're back to being dishonest media, even worse than before. So that's just how they're going to play it. We'll have to deal with it. Trump's leading, and they know it. Kamala campaign knows it, because there's no other reason to steal Trump's ideas. So, let's run down a checklist. She stole Trump's no tax on tips. She stole, we got to close the border. She stole the thing on Medicare. She stole, what else did she steal? She stole his rallies. The types of rallies that Trump has, they stole that idea. And, I said it the other night, her rallies are RSVP only, and you have to show an ID to get in. So it's very telling that they're controlling who goes to her rallies, and they're probably paying some people to go or busing them in. I have seen buses of people getting bussed in. So they're giving off the appearance that she is outdoing Trump at Trump's thing. And she's basically trying to be Trump. And it's looking foolish. I can't imagine her voters support that sort of thing. So it's not going to last. She's unoriginal. She's a copycat. Copycat Kamala, that was the hashtag. So anyway. Patience, folks, patience. So the other thing I wanted to discuss was the state of Pennsylvania. Kamala has to win Pennsylvania. She doesn't have a very big path. It's a very narrow path to her winning the election. And it has to do with Rust Belt states. It's why Trump picked J.D. Vance. He plays well in that area and understands the voters. Tim Walz is trying to be passed off as, Elmer Fudd in his hunting gear shooting quail. Like that makes him pro-gun or something. Or one of the guys. And at the same time, signing a law for tampons in boys' bathrooms. Which, they're trying to defend that as well. Sometimes 9-year-olds menstruate. Yeah, but they're in boys' bathrooms. The Rust Belt working class doesn't care about this garbage. And that's what it's considered. It's considered garbage. So, the other interesting thing this week was famous pollster, Luntz. He's been doing this since 1989. He said this was the first time that the union workers have spoken up against the union and said they don't support Kamala, they support Trump, which is a big deal. Okay? It's the first time that's happened. And it's a big deal because the union heads just came out against Trump, but the workers themselves have issued a statement saying that they don't agree with their union leaders. That's the first time that has happened, ever. So this is really a big deal. And these are the workers in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin that are going to be voting for Trump. This is a working class. The Rust Belt is going to go to whoever supports the workers the best. The middle class workers and the working man, the lower class. And we know that's Donald Trump, okay? So, you know, the polls are about to shift in a major way, and just sit back and watch it. Watch it happen. A tied national vote or 1% lead for Kamala is not going to win the election. She has too many states to win. And it's not my opinion. It's experts in this, people like Luntz, and it's going to come down to the working class vote. Something the Democrats have taken a dump on since before Hillary. That's why Hillary lost. The Hillary campaign didn't spend much time in the Rust Belt states at all. They just felt it was a given they were going to vote Democrat. And they didn't. They elected Trump. So the reason why this stuff is important is in 2016, Trump performed 5% better than the polls said he would. Actually 9%. 9%. In 2020, he performed 5% better in the Rust Belt than they said Trump was going to. And Trump is right now, no joke, his favorability in the Rust Belt is even better than it was in 2020 and 2016. So he is performing very well in the Rust Belt, make no mistake. So what you're seeing right now with the Kamala polls is that the party was filled with doom and gloom because Biden was bombing spectacularly. And this is like new hope, a new resurgence. And they're even selling themselves off as warriors of hope. So Trump has to focus on taking himself off the past. Stop talking about what you've done already, okay? What are you going to do for me in the future? That's where he needs to focus. And I think he's gotten the message. Watched his rally earlier tonight in New Jersey, and he was talking about the economy and that he can fix it. He fixed it before, he'll fix it again. Have hope. Help is on the way. That's what he needs to focus on. And he will. He'll be okay. So, a lot of time between now and the election. Almost 3 months still. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was Trump's sentencing. All right, everybody seems to be all excited today because legal expert Andrew McCarthy on Fox News said Trump is going to be sentenced to jail. And I don't dispute that. He is going to be sentenced, but he's not going to jail. He's not going to go to jail, okay? It's his first offense. I'll say this again for the 30 millionth time, in case anybody in the back didn't hear it. He's not going to jail. They're going to give him a jail sentence. Okay? What's going to happen is it's going to be appealed. And while it's on appeal, he won't be in jail. And he's going to win the appeal because he's a first-time offender. And a lot of things are going to come down to what was used for evidence against him. Was it something that he had presidential immunity for? That is going to be coming up shortly in front of Judge Mercant, or Merchan, and he doesn't care about that. He's going to sentence him anyway, which is how it's going to be flipped over on appeal. They need to have this conviction with jail sentence for the media, because look at the date of the sentencing, which is August 18th. Early voting in Pennsylvania, a state that Kamala cannot lose, or else she loses the whole shebang, okay, starts August 16th. So 2 days prior to the sentencing, early voting starts in Pennsylvania. I have no idea why Pennsylvania can get away with early voting starting August 16th, but the Secretary of State is a Democrat. The governor is a Democrat, and they don't care about you. So all they care about is the election going to Kamala. So yes, he's going to be sentenced to a jail sentence. No, he's not going to be going to jail. If probably not ever, okay? Because it's going to go on appeal, and he's going to win the appeal. So most experts seem to agree on that. But like I said, the whole purpose was to get a conviction, call Donald Trump a felon, because he's not a felon yet, despite the media calling him a convicted felon. He is not a felon until he is sentenced. Which is why Trump voted today in the Florida primary, because he can still vote. He is not a convicted felon. So they trumped up these charges to make it a felony in New York. It's ridiculous. We shouldn't be here, but we knew we would be. I was actually surprised that they found him guilty unanimously. They twisted the rules on that as well. That's going to get overturned by the Supreme Court as well. This is all going to go away. But for now, they're going to have that Trump is a convicted felon. Do you want to vote for him? And he will be sentenced to jail time. They don't care about whether or not he goes to jail. They want the media cycle to affect early voting. And that's all you're going to hear about. All you're going to hear about in the media. Because if Kamala loses Pennsylvania, she's done, okay? The good news is Trump was found guilty by a jury, and it really didn't affect polling. What affected polling was Biden dropping out, and they installed Kamala. And that is a shtick that is going to wear off quickly with the public. It's already starting to wear off. They have their convention this week, October 19th. So October 16th, early voting starts in Pennsylvania. They're going to have the Democrat convention August 19th, and they're going to have the first debate August 18th. So sentencing, debate, convention for Democrats. So Kamala is going to experience a small bump from that. she's not as far ahead in the polls as they're saying, so don't really make a lot of light out of that. But they're guesstimating that him being sentenced and convicted in New York was supposed to bump the polls 1% towards the Democrats, some were saying, and hurting Trump. Now, I will argue that it has helped Trump because of the martyrdom factor. Trump, it looks like he's being persecuted politically, because he is. And when he sentences him, it's going to have the same effect. And the media, that's all they're going to be talking about. They want to change the polls and get rid of Trump. They think this is going to be a knockout blow or something, and it's not. The people know what's going on. So it's more bullshit we're going to have to ride through. You know that. And we'll just go through it together. So we'll be all right. We'll be okay, folks. If you don't believe me, believe the recent polling. So Fox News, who doesn't like Trump, has not been helping Trump at all. Has Trump ahead today by 1% for the first time in a while. So rejoice. That means Trump is doing probably 5 points better than that. And the other polls that have come out, Trafalgar, Rasmussen, and CNBC, all had similar numbers. So she's right about now. You're going to see the damage that Tim Walz on her ticket is causing. People are researching him, and they don't like what they're finding. Tim Walz supports the radical transgender agenda, and so does Kamala. She supported it last year with Biden. Now all of a sudden, the media is going to make her into a moderate? Really? Voters aren't that stupid, okay? Some of them are, but not enough to make a difference. It's not going to help Kamala. I think they're starting to realize it. So they're going to try something new. They're going to try sentencing Trump to jail. It's not going to work either. This election is Trump's to lose. And, he needs to get back out there and campaign. I think the guy's tired. I think he's worn out mentally, not physically. I really do. Today's rally in New Jersey, you could see Trump a couple of times and make sure that he was being excited and showing energy, because the Kamala campaign is showing energy. There's no denying it, okay? But it's also not going to be a winner, because there's other things that matter, like being able to afford hamburger. So Trump has been hitting TikTok hard with young people this week. I watched a video he recorded just specifically for TikTok, talking about the price of food and paying rent, and said that things were good when he was president, and he will do that again. And he's not all talk. He said Kamala is all talk. They're telling you what you need to hear to get your vote, and then you're going to get screwed, because that's what they did in California and everywhere else. And I think it's resonating, and I think you're going to see big changes real soon in the polling. So they're probably still going to try Trump having an affair with somebody, or him being a rapist, or whatever they're going to do. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. And like I said, the leading expert said that Kamala needs a good 5-point lead to actually defeat Trump, because she has to get those Rust Belt states, and right now she's not dominating. New York Times says she is, but you know, those are the polls that are ridiculous. There's different vibes coming out with the working class, middle class. They're not supporting Kamala. Young people vote. Trump's numbers have gone up with young people voting. Significantly, I should add, okay? So, he's doing okay. He's doing well with the black vote still. He's gained some back. And it's all about the crosstabs. You gotta look at the crosstabs. You know, I saw NBC News video today of these black people in Philadelphia. They were doing a panel. And, you know, they said right now it's really bad, inflation for black families. You have to decide between feeding your family or yourself, and a lot of mothers are just feeding their family and going without eating and then going to work, she said. So that's just the reality of it. You know, it's done a lot of damage to Democrats, and when the election comes around, people are going to vote with their wallet, make no mistake. They don't care if Trump is grabbing coochies in a closet somewhere. It's not what they care about. It's not what I care about. So things are actually going pretty decent, actually, because Trump's approval right now is the best that it's been since he's been Trump. CNN had to admit that today. I'm sure it hurt them. That was a good film clip, actually. Just the shameless lying that the media is doing, and the Kamala Harris campaign is doing, is just absolutely unforgivably bad. You know, the stealing. The other one they keep repeating is, you know, the Trump kids stealing cancer money from a cancer charity. That's been debunked a long time ago. But the Kamala Harris campaign is just saying it anyway, like it's true. Because they can do that without, and they'll get away with it. You know, fact checkers, if you check, will say it's been debunked, but, you know, you're not going to tune in on CNN and say, now the Kamala Harris campaign has been saying the same lie. You're not going to hear them say that. So, because that would stop pretty quickly. But again, the information is out there and people are going to see it. It's up to us. It's up to us to get that info out there. Anybody that's online right now is just as big as somebody that's really big online if they're not. So get out there and say it. Don't be condescending like they are. Don't insult them like they do. Just put the facts out there. Let them try to argue it. They've been losing every single time with me. It's been really funny to watch. You know, because they're told that, they think it's true. And then when you come by with the facts and the receipts, they get angry because you proved them wrong. So let them get angry. Don't take the bait. We'll be okay, folks. The truth shall prevail. Trump is not the devil. That's why the Democrats got so friggin' upset. They're still upset that Trump went on X and did an interview with Elon, uncensored, with no policing. They're very upset with that. Because people got to hear an unfiltered conversation. And some of them, I've seen them myself online. Wow, Trump isn't what they were saying he is. So he needs to do more of those. He needs to do more fireside chats. Like Roosevelt did. Very important. So we just hit 2.5 miles. Two and a half miles. I got a sweat going. I'll head back. Now we're rounding back. We'll hit our way back. So I went and did groceries this morning. Was not happy with how much it came out to. Not at all. Not in the least bit. $6 for a bag of apples that I wanted, so I left them there. Because those same apples used to be $4, now they're $6. So I'm just not going to buy it. And that was the other thing that economists were talking about, is you have high inflation. It's still high. It has gone down a smidge, but it's still high, okay? It's not doing anything good, right? You're not seeing positive or negative inflation. So, you know, talk to me when it starts going down and it starts bringing prices down. And the problem right now is if you're a company and a distributor, and the stuff that's on the market right now, people bid on that, okay? They paid for that for their chain. So the Walmart prices are not going to come down until the next cycle, because they've already invested in the distributors, have already gotten their purchases for their store chains. You would see things affected much quickly and more better if you had more local farmers market, but that's not the system we have right now. So it takes a while to catch up. So in other words, if inflation dropped 2 percentage points between now and the election, prices aren't going to go down before the election. That's the point I'm making. So, you know, food prices are high right now. They're going to stay high right through the election. And it's just how it is. So they can cry about it all they want to, but that's where we are. And inflation has gone down a smidge, but it's not going to affect prices, I guess is my point. Not until we start seeing negative inflation. So you're going to hear a lot of crying about price gouging. Manufacturers, the rich, the 1% are taking advantage. Well, they're not. They've already invested in the current prices. So right? Oh, so now we're going to go up the road here. I'll wait till these cars go by. At least that one. That car was all black, like that 70s movie called The Car. That was a really cool horror movie I like. The Car, it's called. Sure you've seen it. The Indian burial ground, the evil Indian spirit possessed a black car that could not be damaged or hurt. Personally, I think Stephen King stole that idea for Christine. Would not surprise me. But so anyway, the tables have been turned on the election in Trump's favor. Not that they were really turned the other way very much. If you watch the media, you'd think, oh my God, Trump's finished, he's over. No, he's not. He did drop a point or two from that surge, but it's basically running where Biden was running earlier this year before the debate. So you need to remember how bad things went for Biden after the debate. Then you have to remember that they rigged the polls against Biden to get rid of him. And I still think he was set up for that debate to fail, which worked. And now they're fluffing Kamala, who's a terrible candidate. You gotta remember that. She's still a terrible candidate. Worse than Hillary. So and Trump's approval is up the best he's had it yet. So hang on, Sloopy. Sloopy, hang on. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. That's an old song. Whew, my sweat feels chilly tonight. We're going to have moderate temperatures after this front goes by. It'll be about 75, 76 degrees. It'll be nice, a lot drier. Turn the AC off. Back home, I have some liquids, I have some trail mix. Picked up some good trail mix today that I like. I got one that has peanuts, cashews, raisins, and M&Ms. The raisins are really good for potassium, and so are nuts. If you run low on potassium, that's something that you can get leg cramps. You need it for a good heart rhythm, one thing. Helps keep your blood pressure low as well, especially like when you're walking. Also got some V8 juice vegetable, the low sodium. I like the low sodium one. The low sodium one, you can taste the salt in it because it does have sodium. But Regular stuff has a lot of sodium, way too much. So my walk yesterday was 9 miles. I probably uploaded 6 miles of it because 9 miles was, it would have been 2.5, 2 3/4 hours, I think. It would have been too long. Granted, 2 hours is still long, a little under 2 hours. But hope you checked it out anyways. All right, so get that business over with. Hey, listen folks, you know, we'll get through this. They're really going over the top this year with the propaganda and the media levels. I've never seen it before, but I think a lot of the public have caught on, and I think the media has made that decision because they know and understand that their ratings are not as good as they were before. They don't have as much reach and they don't have as much influence. And they really tried their best, okay, to censor and get rid of Elon Musk. But he's single-handedly resurrecting free speech for anybody that wants unfiltered news, you know. So, you know, there it is. There it is. We're doing all right. Let's see what the hell this is. What is this? Mosquito repellent refills. Okay. Oh, cool. I just found some free mosquito repellent. Why is that important? Well, I'm actually going to use it. I'm going to research the product though and make sure it's nothing that I deem as being toxic. Sometimes people lose things when they drive by or they throw things away. If there's anything open or something I'm not familiar with, I won't pick it up because you never know when it's going to be a container that has something like fentanyl in it or, you know, something like that. And I was watching a video this week with constituents talking with Democrats saying that they need to do something about the drug problem, and they're not doing anything about it. Law enforcement's doing nothing. City council isn't doing anything. And they were saying, you know, that you can buy fentanyl for $3 a gram. That's what they said. You could buy fentanyl for $3 a gram, which is cheaper than a gallon of milk, the guy said. You know, cheaper than buying beer, cheaper than buying cigarettes and other things. You know, it's a problem because it's so cheap and affordable. And, you know, people are breaking into people's houses to steal things that they're only going to get $15, $20 for at the pawn shop because they can get fentanyl for $3. And they kill their mother for some, you know? So it was interesting. Don't underestimate, I guess what I'm saying, don't underestimate how much damage that the Democrats have done to themselves in these places like New Jersey and New York. Now, I'm not saying by any means that Trump is going to win New Jersey, but he is going to put up better numbers than any Republican has there in a long time. And he'll do the same thing in New York State. Again, he's not going to win anything, okay, there, but he will win something there, because that trickles down to the other Republicans on the tickets for the New York legislature, city councils, all that stuff. Voters are upset. Democrat policy is getting blamed. You don't hear about it in the media because they're not going to talk about that. Not in an election year. So things are changing, okay? Now, you ready for the other good news? The other good news is Virginia has switched to paper ballots. Legislation was signed. No more electronic voting in Virginia. No more mail-in votes. Paper ballot, absentee only, kind of like what Maine does. Kudos to them for that. The other thing I saw in Pennsylvania is that they have also restructured some voting things. And you have to remember that you have a Democrat radical Secretary of State that wants to cheat in the elections, and you have a fully supportive radical governor of Pennsylvania that is a Democrat, but they don't have the legislature. So some election reform stuff has been done. Like now they have ballot tracking. People can track their ballots. They also did that in Wisconsin. Georgia is another one. Georgia also has to announce the mail-in ballot results the night of the election. They passed a law for that. So, you know, don't let a lot of these conservatives online say, oh, they're just going to cheat, they're going to steal the election. Well, they're going to try to steal it, but if Trump is up 5%, okay, you need to understand how big that is. The reason why they stole Michigan and Wisconsin in 2020 is because Biden and Trump were virtually tied, you know, and Trump was beating him. So they just made up the ballots they needed to steal it. But if Trump is leading by 5%, which I think he's going to be by the time the election comes, you're talking about millions and millions of ballots, okay? You're not talking about 10,000, 30,000, 40,000. That they can do if it's close. But if he's ahead, he's ahead, okay? They can't cheat that much to do that. Not without getting caught. And believe me, they don't want to get caught right now after all the fuss that was made after 2020. So, now the other problem they're going to have is a lot of people are screaming for Trump to go to jail, okay? So, they're going to be screaming for Trump to go to jail. Problem is you're going to have public perception now. When he was found guilty, he had not won the nomination of the Republican Party. Part of that was they were hoping if he was found guilty and convicted that the Republicans would pull his nomination. But they didn't. So now what do? Now he's going to be the Republican presidential candidate nominee that is leading in the polls. Are you really going to send him to jail? I mean, that would be suicide. That would be a martyrdom vote. Trump would win a lot easier than if they didn't do that. And I think they have figured that out after his sentencing made him more popular. Maybe not. Maybe they're stupid. I don't think they're stupid people, though. I really don't. But they do want to give the media he's a felon and was sentenced to prison. They want that for the media cycle, and they're going to get that, okay? despite the fact that they're misdemeanor, the lowest E-class felonies. You know, it's an E-class felony. It's a misdemeanor, and it's his first criminal offense. Typically, there's no jail at all for that. But it's Trump, and guess what they're going to do, right? They're going to send him to jail. But he's not going to go to jail, I guess is my point. So they need to be really careful, because this could really, really spectacularly backfire on them if they go too crazy. I think they'll stick with, all right, we'll sentence him. We know he won't go to jail. Well, he'll be able to be out on bail, on appeal. And the appeal will take place after the election sometime. So that's the other thing, okay? And a lot of people aren't talking about this right now. But if they appeal that and he gets out on bail on appeal, when is the appellate court going to look at it? Are they going to wait until after the inauguration if he wins the election? Or are they going to try to do it like before Christmas? See what I'm saying? To deny his appeal or whatever. But now, if they do that, it doesn't really matter, because if he won the election and they rush this ahead and then the appellate court overturns it or doesn't overturn it, let's say they don't overturn it and they let the Senate stay, then Trump would either have to appeal to a higher court, Supreme Court. So it would be highly unlikely that any of this will be wrapped up between now and January next year. And, you know, it may never come to anything, because if Trump wins the election, you know, are they really going to pursue that? I mean, constitutionally, that would be his 2 terms. He wouldn't be able to serve as president again. And I just don't think it would be something they would pursue. There's no political interest in it, other than, you know, they're not going to prevent Trump from you know, his control over the Republican Party even after he's president. And, you know, Trump is not a young man. When he comes out of office, he'll be 82, I think. So I'm not sure about that. Trump doesn't seem as old as people say he is mentally, you know. So anyway, this is all good. This is all good. Right now, because they pursued this, regardless, it's going to make a martyr out of Trump no matter what they do at this point. So very stupid of them to do that. Just dumb. Self-inflicted, you know. The Florida case with the documents, that's gone. That's going to be gone. It's gone now, really. The Georgia election case, I think that's pretty much done too. So this is the last bit that's left. So to recap, September 16th is early voting starts in Pennsylvania. September 18th is the debate between Kamala Harris and Trump. No, the sentencing is the 19th. Now, wait a minute. Do I have that right? Oh my God, I'm sorry for doing that to you. The dates are all close together, so it's like a moot point. Early voting starts on September 16th. No, wait a minute. Okay, I got it. Sorry. I believe the early voting starts September. We're talking about a 3-day window, okay? Regardless. So you're going to have a debate, early voting starts, and you're going to have Trump sentencing all within 3 days, okay? So that's crazy if you think about it. So really, it doesn't really matter. But they want Trump sentencing to affect early voting in Pennsylvania in favor of Kamala. That's what they want. So if they give Trump a jail sentence and he ends up with an ankle bracelet under house arrest at Mar-a-Lago, that is going to really, that's a martyrdom, okay? I don't think they want to light Trump up like that with the public. So we'll wait and see. Most experts believe that he's not going to jail, just on technicalities. Even if he's sentenced to jail, there's a legal process there and appeals and so. But anyway, that's all stuff to keep in mind. But we are going to have the debate coming up, and early voting is going to start. 2 days before the debate, I was under the understanding. So they're going to have early voting start at debate, sentencing before the debate. So think about that. The whole news cycle is going to be Trump's friggin' sentencing right when the friggin' debate is going on. That's going to be a circus. Big time. I still think it'll favor Trump. Because again, it's all going to be about Trump. Nobody's going to be talking about Kamala. And then she's going to have a terrible debate performance because it's Kamala. Now, people have said, you know what, they're going to sneak her the questions. She'll have rehearsed answers. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. I don't. Hopefully, if they do that, somebody leaks that information and it spreads like wildfire all over the internet before the debate. So the vice presidential debate is going to be October 7th with Tim Walz and J.D. Vance. It will be on CBS, another crooked network. The one that Kamala is doing with Trump is going to be on ABC, a very extremely anti-Trump network. I'm sure they're going to pull all kinds of shenanigans, and it would not surprise me if they gave her the questions. So if they don't give her the questions, they will kind of like hint to her what they're going to be about. But people should know what the stuff's going to be about by now, I would think. Trump needs to stay focused, though, like he did against Biden, and not get into an argument with her. He needs to stay level-headed and answer the questions. He needs to remember his talking points. The big one is the economy. Everybody wants to hear about the economy and their job. Okay, that's what they want to hear. You can fill the rest of it with Putin this or Ukraine, whatever he wants to, if that's the question that's asked. But if he has an allotted amount of time and he's asked a question about Ukraine, give a 30-second answer and then use the rest of your time, whether it's a minute and a half, to talk about the economy. Let the person doing the debate interrupt them and stop them. And, you know, what the liberals want is they want the person hosting the debate to interrupt Trump while he's talking and say, Mr. President, that's not true. That is factually untrue. That's what they want to do. Because everything with Trump, it seems like they focus on Trump lied 143 times, I saw in the interview with Elon. I'm like, what did he lie about? I didn't hear anything that was a lie. What, he said 25,000 something or other was killed here or there, and it was actually 30? I mean, you're going to call that a lie? Who cares? And it turns out people don't care. That's why he's doing well in polling. I guess what I'm saying is if Trump was everything to the public that the left and the media is saying he is, he would have dropped out of the race because he wouldn't be polling enough to get elected for dog catcher, and that's just simply not what's happening. So just let him ramble. Let him ramble. Then we got some 12-hour mosquito repellent. Found a whole box of it. In Bidenomics economy, free stuff is good stuff. Phew, I'm hungry. I might whoop me up some pasta. I'm gonna whoop up some pasta. Didn't want to walk this late at night tonight, but I had to wait for that damn thunderstorm. That's just how it goes, which is cleared out now. It doesn't even look like we had heavy rain showers earlier, but we did. So we are going to be wrapping up this walk in about a half mile. So I guess that's about all to talk about that happened today. You know, it's kind of funny. I do a 9-mile walk yesterday. I talk about everything I wanted to talk about, and then now we get things about sentencing and debate dates and all this other stuff that popped up since yesterday. So every day the news cycle is like changing, and we had some good polls come out. And it's like I said, I know their internal polling was telling her that she wasn't doing as good as she thinks the media says she was. Because, I'm going to throw this over there for animals. It's a little kind of nut bar type thing. If it stays over here, it'll get squished by a car. I'd rather some animals eat it. So anyway, I think her internal polling told her that she should steal no tax on tips. And you know, the other thing that was funny is every time they steal something of Trump's, which they're going crazy with it, I'm telling you, they're trying to steal everything Trump does. At this point, it would not surprise me if Kamala came out with a blonde wig, wearing a blue suit with a red tie, and ended her rally with, "Let's make America great again." That doesn't sound like somebody that's ahead, okay? It just doesn't. So, the news cycle today was about thousands of Republican voters who were going to vote for Trump are now going to vote for Kamala. That's the propaganda they were running today. And yes, it made me laugh out loud. Crazy. These people are loons. Anybody with half a brain knows that's not true. Ooh, excuse me. Trump did that rally today in New Jersey, and it was packed. So he's doing okay. It's been what, 7, 8, 9 years now? 9 years they've been doing this with Trump. Oh, he's losing his thing. He's old. Trump's over. He's finished. It just never happens. At what point do they realize that, you know, Trump's right now, realistically, MAGA has been around longer than Hitler's fucking Nazi thing has been around. How long that lasted? Mid-30s to mid-40s, it was done. So Not comparing Trump to Hitler, obviously. I'm just saying that a lot of political movements, 10 years is not a long time. But they've been doing this to him for 10 years now, about crowd size, and he's losing his base, blah, blah, blah. Phew, take a nice hot shower when I get home. That'll feel good. Make some spaghetti. Curl up for a good movie. Put on a good movie. That'll be good. I can see some brush on the side here with track marks through it. Looks like some deer have been crossing through here. Maybe something bigger. Some moosies. Oh, I can hear some thunder in the distance again. Well, at least I almost got my walk over with. Hear something loud coming. Sounds like some kind of truck. What is it? The bucket truck. Power company. Maybe some lightning caused the power outage up yonder. All right. Now this walk will be winding down. I wore my A6 gels tonight because they're nice and soft and cushiony to walk with. Given that I did 9 miles yesterday in my Reeboks. My feet are very happy tonight. Happy feet are good feet. Well, that'll just about wrap up this walk, I think. Thank you very much for walking with me and listening to me babble, as always. Stay safe, everybody. Stay fed. And we'll see you on the next walk. God bless everybody. Thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you again. See you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.